The GOP battle for Nevada is on, and we enter the final hours of voting in today's caucus in the Silver State. Americans making their way to the polls all over the country, picking their nominee. Now, the polling in Nevada, though, we have to tell you guys, has been notoriously unpredictable. So what's at stake? We want to go to our very own Neil Cavuto, who joins us now. Neil, you know, a lot of things, a lot of narratives here. One I want to ask you about off the top. Could this be the first nomination process where we see Donald Trump claim more than 40% of the vote?
Well, it's possible. If you think about it, too, you don't need that or much more to claim the nomination. The way the delegates are portioned out, even in those that aren't winner-take-all, is the winner could take all. We saw that in South Carolina. You think about it, Charles, where Donald Trump not only won, but he won in the remaining districts, so he picked up a delegate for every district that he won. Bottom line, without getting kind of caught in the weeds here, he got all 50 delegates, and he really got a third of the vote in that state. Play that out in some of these other states that have proportional voting, and you can see how the math quickly adds up in his favor. He's also been stressing just today, talking about would it be beautiful to win Ohio, where he's leading in the polls against John Kasich, the Ohio governor. He is envisioning taking these states and dealing a sort of a big psychological blow, whether it's Kasich in Ohio, Ted Cruz in Texas, or even Marco Rubio in Florida.
And of course, that would be a lot easier for him if all of these guys stay in the race. In other words, the reason I brought up the 40% is that the critics of Donald Trump have said that thus far, one way of looking at this, and you could say, you know, it's foolish, but one way of looking at it is large percentage of GOP voters have not voted for Donald Trump. And if there was one particular, if there's single one candidate on the opposite side, maybe it'd be more of a battle. Maybe perhaps Trump would even be vulnerable.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I know I'm not going to try to hogwash you. I mean, you're one of the best people at this network when it comes to numbers. But we should remind people that you can get the nomination with a third of the vote. It's not a matter of the popular vote mirroring exactly the delegate vote. It's how that delegate vote is apportioned. Now, that is a good example of this. As you know, Charles, there are better than 400,000 Republican voters in that state. But last go-round, fewer than about 35,000 voted, 7%. If we have math just like that, you could see how it doesn't take much to win it. And the way they're apportioned again per district, without getting caught in the weeds here, you could have Donald Trump with just a fractional vote. But as long as he's on top of that fractional vote, picking up all 30 delegates, it plays out much the same in some of these other states. And don't even get me started on the winner-take-all states, right, where that is the rule.
No, and to that point you made, Neil, there are whispers, maybe they're coming from the Rubio camp, that he's got very strong support in that state with the Mormon population. They do show up. They do understand the caucus process. They gave the state to Mitt Romney.
They did. They saved the day for Mitt Romney. Remember, that came right after South Carolina, where Newt Gingrich upended him, and he stopped the Gingrich momentum. That was the Mormon vote that did that. Yeah, so
some are saying, hey, it's a caucus state. People don't know how to caucus. It's a complicated process, and Trump didn't do so well with the caucus situation in Iowa. Is there any chance of a potential upset, or at the very least, does Marco Rubio solidify his position at number 2 tonight?
Well, you know, eventually, I think you and I were chatting about this not too long ago, Charles, you have to start winning.
Right.
It's one thing to sort of, you know, get delegates along the way and build up a head of steam, but if there's a guy in front of you building up a bigger head of steam and winning outright, that gap is widening between everyone. I hasten to add, Nevada is an interesting case because caucus states are always dicey, and this one is really dicey. It's only open for 2 hours. And here's the devil in the details here, Charles. You have to have been registered to vote 10 days ago. So a lot of people are going to show up at the polls. I always think of the, you know, people who stagger into a poll site. If, let's say, you're in Las Vegas, you've had a little bit too much to drink, you say, I'm here to vote, and all of a sudden you realize, no, you were supposed to register 10 days ago. That wasn't the way it was in Iowa. So it's a limited time, very little participation, very little is described about this, and that's where that ground game you hear so much about is so crucial.
Well, I got to admit, too, that's actually happened to me in New Jersey, so I know it's possible in Vegas as well.
Yeah, they can entice me with the buffet. I'm there. But a lot of these people, they don't know.